All right, today we're going to talk about y-intercepts, specifically y-intercepts from quadratic functions in vertex form and in standard form. So first of all, let's talk about what a y-intercept is. Hopefully you already watched my video on x-intercepts because we're going to borrow some of that information. So y-intercept has to be on the y-axis, right? You can't have, let's say you have a function like this, right? None of these points can be the y-intercept. Right? The y-intercept has to be on this line, this y-axis line. And so the y-intercept is going to be wherever it crosses. So depending on what your function is, any one of anywhere along this line could be a y-intercept. Right? You could have it cross here, or you could have it cross there, right? Here, or here, or wherever, but as long as it's on that line. Now, all these points along this line, they have something in common, which is that they have as their x-coordinate, they have a 0. Their y-coordinate can be all sorts of different things, but they have an x-coordinate of 0, and that's going to be what we use to figure out what is the y-intercept in our different problems. So, key information, x-intercept is, or excuse me, the y-intercept has an x-coordinate of 0. Okay, let's take a look at a problem like this. So here, this is a factored form of a quadratic. And let's say we want to find the y-intercept. Since we know that the x-coordinate is 0, we can replace these x's, substitute them with zeros. Then we're going to simplify using the order of operations. We're going to get y equals 1 times 5, so y equals 5. And it tells us what the y-coordinate is. It says y equals 5. Right? So in this example, the x-coordinate had to be 0, and when that happened, the y-coordinate resulted in a 5. This is the y-intercept of this equation. You do the same thing, whether it's factored form or vertex form, you do the same thing. You replace the x with a 0, and that tells you your y-intercept. Let's do -8 here. So we would put a 0 here for x, y equals 2 times 0 plus 1. Again, simplify using the order of operations. Parentheses happened first, then exponents, then multiplication. There's no division, no addition, then we do subtraction, and you get -6. Again, it tells you what the y-coordinate is. So our x-coordinate is 0, our y-coordinate is -6. And that's all there is to finding y-intercepts, okay? It's all connected to this fact. X-coordinate has to be 0. If it's not 0, if the x-coordinate is not 0, it's off to one side or the other, right? If the x-coordinate was 1 or 2 or 3, it'd be like over here somewhere. If it was -1 or -2 or -3, it would be over here somewhere. It has to be 0 to stay on that line. The fact that it has to be 0 tells us that we replace with 0, and then we simplify, and it gives us our y-coordinate. And that's it.